broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, loyal internet. Welcome to this episode 6 of Season 1 of Moonbeam City, Lasers and Liars. Today we have some wonderful guests in. We're going to introduce them in a moment. I'm the Internet Soapbox Mark, your host, as well as Greg Goodness, but you're not here for us. You're here for Nightclub. Ladies and gentlemen, the sound of Moonbeam City is here. Thank you so much. We have Emily and Mark that compose Moonbeam City. Well, I guess you compose Moonbeam City and you also compose Nightclub.
In more ways than one.
Words are fun. Yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit about today's episode, but it's mostly going to... There we go. We got some lights reacting. No, it's highly interactive, highly interactive. We're going to talk a little bit about tonight's episode, but we're going to get your 2 cents from this episode as well as just the whole process of being a part of Moonbeam City. But we're going to... Let's talk about the episode really quick. The couple of advancements. We like... Since the episodes are so silly and kind of they're really their own world in each episode, we like to look at the character and how it changes from one episode to another. Should we talk about Rad first and just how sad Rad has become?
Oh, just
so
wait.
Sad.
Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah.
It gets so much.
This is going to be
more
fun.
Pathetic.
He's not even a quarter of the way there.
This isn't as low as he gets.
Oh no.
My biggest problem with Rad in this episode is he has every opportunity just to shut his mouth, but he decides to keep going. Mm-hmm. Is there? Do you guys change anything? Do you score for particular characters? Are there any themes that you guys use specifically for different characters?
Yeah, I mean, from the pilot, we've scored. Yeah. There would be like a Dazzle cue, Dazzle's theme. The Heat Stroke is like the Dazzle theme. There's the Pizzazz theme. You kind of keep them in character, but then they also can kind of go out of that character. But they're based originally in a theme.
Yeah. So, what from Rad have you taken into his theme? Is it just the fact that he's so antagonistic to Dazzle, or
it's sort of mutated because the pilot he was more a villain, and because of what Will...
It's a very villainous theme that we made for him.
Yeah, it was originally a villain theme, and it mutates over the course of the whole show into a pathetic, sad theme.
Yeah. His cues get a lot sadder as the season goes on.
Absolutely.
So.
I have to give you a credit because in that pilot episode, the second I heard that sing, I was like, "Oh, this is the bad guy. We know, we know that we're going to be rooting against him."
Well, that's good. That's good. Yeah,
we did our job.
We did our job exactly.
I don't know how often we get like a de-evolution of a villain over the course of the series, so that's going to be really interesting to hear in the soundtrack. And speaking of the soundtrack, just off the bat, we might as well. It was announced earlier tonight. November 6th is going to be the release digitally of the Moonbeam City soundtrack. Is there any plans for physical, like vinyl? Or?
So December 18th, there's going to be CDs everywhere.
And vinyl sometime next year.
So we don't know yet, but sometime next year,
Awesome.
I cannot wait to see the cover art for that vinyl.
I know. I can't
Neither
either.
can we. We don't know what it's going to be yet. But Antonio Canobio, who's the art director at Titmouse, is doing the cover now or soon.
He's the art director on the show.
Yeah.
And so he is going to do a special vinyl version.
And did you guys do anything special for that soundtrack, or is it just a compilation of everything that you've been doing so far?
Yeah, we kind of went back in and expanded a lot of things and added things, subtracted things, but we kind of just worked on it with Scott and just said, hey, what about this kind of playlist? And then just sort of expanded and made it more something you want to listen to, as opposed to just like 10 second, 5 seconds.
That's
10 seconds.
But that's the great thing about your sound is one of the first things from the pilot and from the trailers were, what is that music? I need that music in my life constantly. I know that.
Thank you for saying that.
No,
Wow.
I mean I'm kind of secretly a big EDM fan. So something like this that has such a classic sound is kind of few and far between for it to be good. So
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
And it's really awesome having you guys in studio and hard making eye contact with you without me peeing myself like Rad. But how did you guys get involved with Scott? How'd you meet him?
It's sort of backstory on me. I direct shows. I used to direct a show called Metalocalypse.
We're a huge fan.
Ultimately, I met Scott because he had the project. It was sold. He already made the pilot. He'd already made the script for the pilot. Was looking for a studio. He came to Titmouse. Really dug Titmouse. And Chris P., who runs Titmouse, had just seen us play our band. And was like, oh, well, he likes Metalocalypse and he likes this synthwave stuff and this kind of stuff. He should probably meet you. And so I just went outside. I was working on another show. Came outside. We just started talking. And he was like, it's like going to be a lot of hot pink and black. And, I was like, oh, and then I just handed him our logo.
Like our sticker.
And we were like, whoa.
Funny you should say that.
Yeah, like this. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so.
How did you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. We just clicked. He's just an awesome guy. And Chris P. basically made a little trailer piece and said, hey, can I have some of your music, just instrumental, just to kind of sell the studio?
Yeah, because Scott didn't know which animation studio he was going to go with, and so this was kind of Titmouse's pitch to him, hey, here are the characters we're going to create, and the vibe of the show, basically, come to us.
That's awesome. So you guys help sell the show, essentially. Was saying hey, this
to
is what you can get.
For Titmouse doing it. But basically Chris, did us a solid, obviously. Put our music in it. And then, Scott just said, what's that music? Where'd you get that music? That music's really cool.
And ended up being the theme song.
Oh, yeah. Ended up being a theme song. And then we kind of evolved from there. So I directed the pilot and directed another 5 episodes. And so,
well, have we seen any of the other episodes so far?
Yeah, Aquatica.
Bless your heart.
Yes.
That's the most enchanting one in terms of what the hell is going on. That's cool because actually something that we've noted on previous episodes is sort of the shift in focus from the different directors on what type of a show it is.
It's actually got 2 directors. It's me and then a guy named Juno Lee who I've worked with before, who's awesome. And so he just did the one tonight. Glitzatrine. He did 4 of them. I did 6 of them.
All right.
So we kind of just trade off, but we do the music for all of them. So sometimes we're doing music for him for his episode, or it's something for the one I'm working on, or whatever.
Does that ever anything ever clash when you're doing music for his episodes?
It's just a different process. I think because on ours we create the animatics and everything around the music maybe a little more.
Oh, okay.
And on his episodes he might have a temp thing in.
And then we have to mirror copy it.
Basically go in and go, oh, that's what you're looking for, that kind of thing. So
your version. So it's a little bit more cookie cutter sort of production.
No, it's actually really, it's harder.
Yeah.
That's harder.
I figure.
Yeah.
But his episodes are?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because sometimes they're just, we can build the episodes around songs when it's me doing it,
So did you guys write the Aquatica song?
Yeah, we wrote it with Scott, actually.
Bless your heart.
Yeah, so he had the lyrics. Basically in the script it was hey, we want a parody of Toto. And he had the lyrics in the script already. So basically we had to just go in and write the melody and music around it.
Which is hard to rewrite a hit and then not be the same
music. To rip
music.
it off without completely ripping it off. Yeah.
It's not as easy as just switching a couple of notes here and there.
It's a very challenging thing.
It's because you want people to know immediately that, oh yeah, this is Toto, this is Africa,
without being it.
But without getting completely sued by the band. Hopefully that doesn't
I think that's something that they could appreciate. Just good work. All right, we're not even going to touch it.
Totally.
It lives in it.
No lawsuits yet, so
totally.
We'll see
very good.
What happens, yeah.
That's a mark of success. Well, we haven't had any lawsuits so far.
No one sued us yet. We're good.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll wait.
In the mail.
Season's not over, so.
No,
the season's not over.
Right.
Still plenty of time. Could you give us any sort of a preview for some of the other episodes that you're directing?
I don't want to give anything away.
Or at least a title of the next one that you're directing.
Is it CopCon?
Oh, CopCon.
Welcome to CopCon.
Interesting.
Already.
That's something that they teased tonight about pizzazz at CopCon.
Right.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's like your Aunt Flo visits every month, except for the couple months after CopCon, unless you actually were really sick.
Yeah, we showed it at a.
Oh, we're gonna see some involvement in their relationship in CopCon.
Cool, because tonight's episode we got to see, or Dazzle got to see Pizzazz at her lowest and kind of get maybe a little bit more respect for her, which helped kind of, it helps develop where they've come from and why Dazzle that's the only person that he really listens to. So that's really exciting. Cool.
Yeah, it's a fun one, and it's got a lot of Rob Lowe sings a song in it.
We wrote a song for Rob, so we could check that off the old list.
The bucket list.
Yeah, life goals, I guess.
Yeah, it was really fun to make.
And then we made sort of like a, it's like a taking it to the streets kind of song. It's like very like.
It's like half Sly and the Family Stone, half Doobie Brothers.
It's really, it's like the dumbest song we've probably ever written, but it's really.
Yeah, because Tommy, who's the showrunner, and Scott kind of came up with this idea in the writer's room.
I know Scott he's written his own parody of Taken to the Streets, so that's absolutely silly.
Scott has a sick fascination with Michael McDonald.
And Michael Jackson.
And Michael Jackson. Yes. And a lot actually.
A lot of Michaels.
He's got an incredible knowledge of a lot of useless information.
Yeah.
That comes in handy. That comes in handy.
For this show, it definitely comes in handy. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he has a since you are a director, who comes up with like the business names, like in the background? Is that Scott or is that just?
Actually, they kind of came up. Scott I believe came up with that method, of how they're named. The Dazzle, Rad, and then the last name that's the normal name, boring normal name. So he came up with that obviously in the pilot, but then when Tommy and the other writers came in, for
like the businesses.
You're talking about
like
the sign names.
Yeah, the sign names.
Oh, the signage. I think you're talking about the business names.
Like joysticks, boys.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just all. That came from everywhere.
Buck
Buddies.
That's actually Tommy and Scott, I believe. But yeah, then sometimes from the artists. Sometimes they'll contribute. It just depends. It really comes from a lot of places, but I'd say predominantly from the writer's room.
That awesome. It comes together so well in the show where like. I've watched the pilot several times before we started doing the show, and the amount of stuff that you notice, especially for it being a mall, and the sheer amount of stores that you have to notice.
There's so much detail in the show. It's insane.
And oh god,
we wanted to make sure that this was a show that people would just watch over and over. Like, you can just get into the minutia, because believe me, there's a lot of minutia.
And I think it shares a lot with Metalocalypse in that way. Because there's a lot to see in Metalocalypse and a lot to hear and stuff.
And Tommy was the co-creator of Metalocalypse.
He was a voice tonight, wasn't he?
What was the episode tonight? It was
Lasers and Liars.
Was he one of the rich guys?
He's their dad.
Yeah.
Oh, he was the dad too. That's right. Yeah.
Cool.
I think he's in every one of them as different characters.
Now, you guys have obviously done music for this, but you've done music for other shows too. I was checking up. It looks like Mysteries of Laura. You've done stuff for MTV in the past. Now, was this something when you first formed as a band? Was this something that you thought you'd be doing, or do you think we're going to put out EPs? We're going to be doing touring? Like, I can't imagine that you would ever conceive. Oh yeah, we'll do stuff for TV too.
Yeah, we've had no idea. I mean, when we started the band, we were like, we want to write a song for Britney Spears or Selena Gomez or something.
Yeah, I mean, the fusion of the band was like, let's do these kind of like electronic.
We're going to try to write songs for other people.
Oh, okay.
And then we wrote...
It's not a bad gimmick.
Right. So then we wrote a song called Love Struck, which was on our first EP. And then we were just kind of like, this is pretty...
Yeah, maybe we should put it out.
Yeah. And I was like very insecure about being a singer, and I was just like, I don't think I'm that good. Like, I don't know. And... we tried it.
Those are the ones that you have to put out.
Right. Yeah. And so Mark was just like, you should just do it. Like,
Yeah, it kind of evolved from like our two tastes. Like, I have this kind of old 80s electronic taste.
Yeah.
She loves like Britney Spears and that kind of stuff. And it was sort of
But we both
a weird
love
hybrid.
pop music.
Yeah. Right.
That's our
so our stuff's
one.
very catchy and poppy. And
yeah, it's classic pop.
Yeah.
And that's
pop.
why it's very... It can hit a lot of... markets and a lot of I guess is the best way of putting it. A lot of your two music sensibilities come together for something that a lot of modern people can really get into. A lot of kids and a lot of adults. It just hits with everybody. Cool. I'll take my lips off.
You
of your
run
ass
a giant record company, don't you?
Don't let the cup fool you. I don't.
Damn. Are you the president?
I'm secretly the president. We did going back to the episode for a second, so we can wrap that up and keep talking about you guys. We got a little bit more reckless Dazzle in this one than it's kind of more of a reckless Dazzle as we go episode to episode.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely increasing in his recklessness, but I thought this was cool because this was the first episode where I thought, oh, Dazzle's kind of taking the back seat in the plot line here. It's not strictly the Dazzle show anymore.
Yeah.
We're seeing, I mean, realistically, Rad probably had just as much, if not more, screen time than Dazzle.
And I can just imagine Will Forte in front of a microphone just trying to think up of things to say.
Oh, yeah.
Poor
I think you're going to
bastard.
see there's going to be other storylines for everyone. That's kind of it, because you have to start the show off with the center character and then
A couple really rad heavy episodes are going to be coming up.
Is that involving the sadness?
Understatement.
We wrote a song called "Rad is Sad."
Yes!
Yeah. So,
and really quickly, speaking of Rad, I don't know if you can confirm this or not about his character. Is he actually Canadian, or is he just obsessed with Canadiana?
he's Canadian.
He's Canadian.
All right.
Yeah. Nice. You'll learn more about it in the finale.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the finale has a lot to do with that.
Yeah. It's a big part.
Secret Canadian backstory.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a sequence of words I never thought I would hear in a legitimate fashion, and I love it, and that's one of the reasons why I love the show.
I'm sure that you guys can appreciate, too, that in a couple of episodes now, we've seen Rad doing really sad musical numbers, because it's so nice. You guys build these epic sequences for everybody else, and then whenever Rad tries to do a musical number, it's just sort of this wet fish flopping around on the ground.
Absolutely. It's like we get to torture him the entire time.
It's so great.
You monsters, you should be stopped.
Is Will Forte up for that? Is he down to...
I mean, that guy, every time he comes in to record, he comes in and he goes, it's just he would always say it's a joy to come here. Because at the time he was making the first season of Last Man on Earth, and he was the showrunner and the writer and all that stuff. He's like, I just get to come here and these scripts are hilarious and I just get to have fun.
So that's the joy of voiceover work, I think.
Yeah. Well, weren't the writers trying to kind of one up it every time?
Yep. Yeah, I'll constantly.
How can we just?
How can we
this
torture
person,
Rad more?
Right.
If people think that there's no room for a competitive writing, arena for creative writing and for TV, but when you get jokes like this, it shows how much that still works.
Yeah.
The fact that you're able to come up with a list of someone needs to go back. Internet, go and hop on this for me. Go back and do a running tally of how many blues singers that Rad had to make up tonight.
And I'm sure some of those were real.
Probably
somewhere in the Delta.
That's maybe 1/3 of the
audio. I'm sure. Jesus. You guys do like blues a lot up at Titmouse with this and of course Blues Clock. One of my favorite episodes of.
I just actually saw that on TV the other day.
Yeah, nice. That's one of my favorite tracks that they ever did. And I love the Blues Delta story. And everything.
It's a great.
Yeah.
We've talked a little bit about, obviously, the 80s element of this show in the past, and you guys are steeped in, we've talked about a little, that 80s synth sort of mentality, and then also the pop mentality. I mean, what would you say are your influences musically, going all the way back? Is that a terrible question that I just asked one thing?
So many. I mean, I like...
Lots of pop. I mean, we sort of when we first started making music together, the way we hit it off was we both realized that we liked old Gary Newman stuff, we liked Katy Perry, and we liked Vangelis. And to be to those three things alone is wow, okay, that we're pretty much on the same wave.
And we like Slayer and you know, stuff like that too, but definitely.
but definitely leans on the pop side for sure.
Yeah.
And you're able to sort of work that into the show, obviously, because it has such a steep 80s background in there. So was that something that you guys knew?
And Scott's a huge fan of pop.
Okay, cool. So you guys meshed right away and
Absolutely.
knew on the same track.
I mean, he should be credited in some way as the music supervisor for this thing because, I mean, he would send us on these tangents listen to this Benjamin Orr solo record.
Oh, no kidding.
Do something in the vein of that. Toto. How about this weird underground airport music?
The Dave Grusin.
The Dave Grusin stuff. Just
sweet music.
I mean, just a million trajectories. So it was really challenging and really cool.
That's awesome.
How that actually just answered the next question I was gonna ask about. How has, aside from the I wouldn't say derivative, but maybe the inspirational stuff, how has this challenged you as artists working on the show?
Or has it? Is it just totally knock it out of the park?
So easy.
Phone it in.
How much fun is it to spend endless hours?
It's just pretty strange. It's kind of like, I feel like waking up from a really long bender and you just sort of can't realize that you made that many cues for a TV show.
Hundreds.
We both have day jobs. I'm directing the show. She has a day job. We work at day jobs, and then it would be all right, 8 p.m., time to write 3 more songs tonight.
That's why we're called Nightclub, actually, because we would always have these jobs, and then meet at night to hang out and make music.
And so it's not a nightclub, it's a club at night.
Exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now we have the origin story. Yes,
yes, exactly.
Double meanings, I love them.
Yeah.
So it's just every night, cranking out, whether it's a big song like Aquatico or just little blippy background stuff. I mean, but a lot of them. A
lot.
How's your sleep schedule? Pretty terrible.
Great now.
Yeah. Now that you're back.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we've been done for quite a while.
Okay.
They kind of put a pin in the show to have it go with South Park. So we were done.
Okay.
I think in April or May.
That's right. Yeah, because the pilot was first pitched around like 2013, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
We came on board. I
think it was first pitched like earlier than that because we came on 2013.
Oh, well, no, he actually, the idea of Scott having the idea and pitching 2011, 2012. And then we started in 2013, early 2013, making that pilot. Then they tested the pilot. Then they picked it up for a series. And then
waited for South Park.
Yes. So
because we thought we were going to for a while it was like you guys were going to follow Tosh, and then there was something else that maybe... Yeah. But then it's like the perfect. I mean,
South Park is a lead-in. Yeah. Few shows can ask for better.
Yeah.
And I don't know too many other animated shows that Comedy Central has done that has benefited as much as Moonbeam City. Yeah.
Yeah. I was really happy when they gave us that.
Yeah, because we were like, God, when is it going to come out? Like we were waiting months and months, and then it was like, after South Park, and it's like, all right.
Yeah, we went on tour.
We can wait for sure.
We went on tour this summer, and we were just kind of like just to get out of town, and we felt like we were just like insane people talking about this show that no one's ever seen that we were obsessed with.
And everyone's just like, yeah, right.
And they're like, Tahiti, great, who cares? And we're just like, no, you haven't seen it. You don't get it.
You don't understand.
That's funny. Has there been crossover now? Like now the show is airing, are people paying more attention to you guys as a band, or have you gotten additional followers and people trickling in?
I mean, you guys do a lot of great press from who runs the Twitter account?
Me. I
okay,
guess.
well, the fact
take credit for it.
Yeah,
me.
Yeah. People get hired to be social media managers, and the fact that you're doing it just because you love being a part of the show and stuff, something to be commended. So
thank you.
Yeah,
I like doing it. Yeah, sure.
A lot of great ad work for yourselves. It's awesome.
Thank you.
How early in the process of the creation of each episode did you start working, like animatic or a little bit closer to final?
There's all over the place.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the like Aquatica, written before an animatic was even made.
Yeah.
Because you had to make the animatic. Some other things, when they're background cues, they get made, really late in the process.
Okay.
I think Comedy Central was kind of taken aback too because we gave them Aquatica completely scored, pretty much like the animatic.
Yeah, actually, the music to that episode is basically the exact way it was in an animatic.
That's great.
And they were just like, we never get shows like this.
Yeah,
this
they were
weird.
They were kind of. But then it was like, so they're all going to be like that, right?
yeah.
That's
set
the
up
problem.
the expectations
so high.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That really shows in that episode, though, because it's so finely tuned and so well crafted. So I have to give you guys credit for bringing it in on that stage because it really shows in the final product. So
thank you.
Has there been any confirmation of like a season 2 yet, or is it still up
Not
in the
yet.
air?
Well, they never tell you.
Well, that's the thing is,
they never tell you.
It varies from show to show because sometimes it's like 2 episodes in. Oh yeah, we gave them 2 more seasons, but it's like you can.
Yeah, because with something like this, they won't because they'll just want to see how it. They know it's a new show and it needs time to get its legs and to grow. and then they're going to see how it grows, and I'm sure that will influence their decision.
Yeah, this seems like a Metalocalypse, where, like, as you mentioned before, it's people need to watch it several times. It might be like a huge hit for digital sales by the time everything's wrapped. But
I mean, we've talked about in the past how, because there's such a attention to detail, like sort of this Simpsons-esque, tons of stuff going on in the background, it really is a show that you can appreciate more and more as you watch it, and it's definitely a perfect binge watching show because there are the little crossovers from every episode. So
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if more people got into it kind of after all 10 have aired, like, and it's on Hulu, so you could just go through and binge watch it in like an afternoon or something.
Oh yeah, I think it absolutely has that potential.
Yeah.
And it's obviously doing very well on its own and in its current time slot and everything. But I'm really excited for when it drops on.
Well, it's cool that you guys are doing this for it, by the way.
I know,
the network's been running for a really long time, but this was a show coming up that I was pretty sure would hit pretty big, but I wanted to help kind of spread the word, and that's something.
Well, thank you.
And thank you for coming in and helping sort of continuing that symbiote circle. So unfortunately we are running out of time. So if any sort of plugs, anything that you want to push, social media.
You can find us on nightclubband.com or
twitter.com/nightclubband. Everything kind of nightclub band. Nightclubband.com. Yeah.
All the website.
Yeah, every Facebook, Twitter, they're all Nightclub Band.
We're on
You'll
YouTube.
find us.
Soundtrack coming out next Friday.
Any upcoming dates? I know you guys have been out and about.
2 shows in the UK.
That's right.
We're playing England next month.
Wow.
Hopping
across the pond.
No, like local shows right now, but hopefully
we just played
soon.
a few.
Yeah, it's like you just doing a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys are ever in the neighborhood and you want to come back and talk Moonbeam City, maybe finale, maybe anything, please do not hesitate to come back. This is a lot of fun.
So great having you. Thank you so much for
coming. Thank you so much.
And please spread the word. If anybody else wants to come on the show, our doors are always open.
Absolutely will.
But that'll do it for us on tonight's episode of Moonbeam City After Show. Remember, you can tweet at us using the hashtag ABTV Moonbeam City. Greg, where can folks find you on Twitter?
You can find me on the twits.
On the twits.
Tweets, whatever.
Make it work.
At Greg Goodness.
And you can find me on Twitter at Soapbox Mark. Thank you again, Nightclub Emily Mark.
Thank you so much.
Hope to see you again soon.
Yes.
And to everybody out there,
Season 2. Right?
Put your hope caps on.
Yes.
And we'll see you in Moonbeam City.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.